Mahomes and company. Listen, not only did they win the Super Bowl, but Patrick Mahomes definitely came out last year, I would say, in a different mindset, a different spirit. We all know how great he is. We all know what he can do. I think the difference was we actually seen that he put on a master class on how to come back with an injury. All right? Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to sit here and say that I didn't count him out, because I did. There was numerous games where I was like, oh, yeah, he's going to lose. The Chiefs are going to lose. And he came back like he always does. So I have to give credit where credit is due. I'm going to give credit to Patrick Mahomes and those Chiefs for becoming the Super Bowl champions and pulling through last season. But we're on to a new season. So what does that mean? Well, let's basically obviously start with last year's schedule and see what they got right and see what they got wrong. So, obviously, this is postseason where they beat Jacksonville, beat the Bengals, and then beat Philly. But before we skip past that, I want you to look at the scores, right? They beat the Jags 27-20. They beat the Bengals 23-20. They beat the Eagles 38-35 in the Super Bowl. These are all close scoring games. These are all anybody's game. And I said something last year during the streams, and I repeated it. I said there was not one team in the NFL that was actually, the word I was looking for, dominant. There was not one dominant team in the NFL last year. And by looking at these scores, you can see why. I mean, as we continue through the regular season, obviously they beat the Cardinals. It's the Cardinals. 44-21. But look at the Chargers. That was week 2, 27-24. They lost to the Colts by 3, 20-17. They beat Tampa Bay 41-31, but still, I mean, it's close game. They beat the Raiders by 1, 30-29. They lost to the Bills by 4. They beat San Francisco 44-23. They beat Tennessee in overtime by 3. They beat Jacksonville by 10. Chargers again by 3. They beat the Rams 26-10. Lost to the Bengals by 3. Won against Denver, which they almost lost that game, if you guys remember. They won against the Houston Texans in overtime. Won against the Seahawks. Almost lost to Denver again. Luckily, they came out from that one, 27-24. And then they beat the Raiders 31-13. So there's a lot to say as far as with the Chiefs' defense and the deficiencies there when allowing teams to either, one, stick around or create issues as far as with keeping the game close in the long run. Patrick Mahomes and the offense, they're going to do what they do. But I think this year, the real question is going to be whether or not that defense is going to actually be able to keep these teams at bay so that the Chiefs can keep it close. So, shout out to Daniel Berry. What's up, man? Tennessee says Patrick is clutch when needed. That is very much true. Immortal says, as much as I like Justin Fields, he had 0 come from behind wins last season. And that's a problem, right? You need that to obviously navigate through the season, because you're not going to simply blow out every team, and you're going to get behind. Serious Biz says, I'm sick of his dominance against the Broncos. He tore us up over the years in the AFC West. Listen, if you remember, there was a couple games where I was like, wow, like the Broncos are definitely going to win. But it didn't happen, right? And it was kind of weird because Russell was having a terrible year, but then he would show up against the Chiefs. Well, we got to attribute that to coaching, right? Stars just aligned, maybe. But no, you can tell that, studying Mahomes, the defense, different plays and stuff like that. As far as I remember, it was one specific play that I just knew for sure was a touchdown that got picked off by Mahomes, or that Mahomes got picked off from. So there's a lot that I think any team can have when it comes to defense and who's going to show up. But if you have the right coaches actually paying attention to the tape, watching what Mahomes is doing, especially when he's injured, then you know what kind of weaknesses you can adjust to. So Obviously, they took care of business last season, albeit it was by a thread. But this year, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? Obviously, week one, they're going to start off against the Detroit Lions. And I'm not sleeping on these Lions. We're not there yet. We're going to get there. But listen, Jared Goff and company mean business. This isn't the Detroit Lions from 10 years ago. This isn't the Detroit Lions from 5 years ago. You're definitely going to see a big difference in this week one, and I'm excited for it. Week two is going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars. Once again, it's not going to be an easy game. Trevor Lawrence and company, they're looking to play as well. Next after that is going to be the Bears. This game is all going to depend on whether or not Justin Fields is playing at an elite level, and they figured out that offense. Week four is going to be against the Jets, Aaron Rodgers and company. Aaron Rodgers has a solid team. He's ready to go. He's trying to get himself a ring. Not going to be an easy game. Minnesota Vikings, probably give that one to them easily. Denver Broncos, once again, who knows? Maybe Russell and company can actually win if it's a close game. Sunday the 7th, it's going to be against the Chargers. I'm expecting another great game. Then they go back to Denver. After that, it's going to be Miami. That's going to be week 9. Week 10 is going to be their bye. Week 11, that's going to be November 20th against the Eagles at 8:15. That's a Monday night game. That's going to be huge. Obviously, the Super Bowl rematch. Sunday, that's going to be November 26th at the Raiders. Then they go against Green Bay. Then the Bills. I can't wait until we play Kansas City again because, these games are just ridiculous. New England, Raiders, Bengals, and then they'll wrap up the season against the Chargers. So the Chiefs do not have an easy season at all. There's going to be a lot of beginning games that are really going to put them to the test. Now, obviously, if they do show up dominant and Patrick Mahomes is, at 100%, then yeah, we're probably going to maybe see a repeat. They'll go to the playoffs, and at that point, they're going to have to go out and face these Bills. And this year, the Bills are going to take care of business. All right? Yeah. But yeah, there's definitely going to be some challenges for them down the road, and we'll see. We'll see. I'll tell you this, it's very difficult for the Super Bowl winning team to come back the next year and really, really play the way that they need to, especially with all the adjustments that's happened over the next season. So, will they make it to the playoffs? Of course. But I do have them going against my Bills. And you guys know it's going to be a wild one. That is for sure. Shout out to Purposes. I think the Lions might be good this year. I do as well. I think the Lions are going to surprise everybody. I think the running game is solid. Obviously, the passing game has been decent. I'm not going to say amazing. It's been decent. If they can fine-tune that and that defense steps up, it's going to make the Lions a force to be reckoned with. But yeah, I did actually put up a poll for you guys. The question was, will the Chiefs repeat and win the next Super Bowl? 21 votes. 76% of you guys said no. Well, I'm agreeing with you because I'm being a little biased tonight, and I got the red cup in my hand. I'm just playing, guys. There's only water in here. Staying hydrated. Shout out to Tennessee Tactical. Hoodie J will be awakened on that night. Yes, Hoodie J will be in full effect. You do not have to worry. He will be ready to go. Yeah, it's going to be Bills versus the Chiefs in the AFC Championship with, I think, the Bills blowing out the Chiefs. I said it. You heard it here first. Don't argue with me. Argue with your mom. And, yeah.